games now. But when we assume somebody is making a lot of money off of something, it's usually because we think they're winning a lot of things and they're really good at it. Well, today we're talking to someone who does the exact opposite. Someone whose sole purpose in life is to just lose League of Legends games. In the past, I've done a video about why Iron Needle accounts
Sole purpose
so
in life. Does he
in
know
a
him that
nutshell,
well?
Basically, they're extremely rare and
His
extremely
sole
difficult to
purpose
get your
in
hands
life
on.
is
Well,
to
today
lose.
we're going to be talking to one of the top ELO D boosters in the world, and I'm going to be showing you how he loses 20 games in just 1 hour.
What?
This is League of Documentary.
That's honestly pretty fucking
Aside from
impressive.
the subject of today's video, I don't think anyone truly wants to be an Iron.
It's impossible.
So let me
though.
just take a quick moment to talk about today's sponsor, Professor.
My man lied twice already. He said he lost 20 games an hour with it, which is literally impossible. It's impossible. And then he said his sole purpose in life is to lose. That's a bit harsh.
Professor is an amazing app that gives you so much detailed information about your game, champion select, and weaknesses. It's champions you in real time to help you track in order to see in the description.
The ranker. I am Levande, I am from Venezuela. The title I have right now is just head the ranker at Smurfs. I manage almost all the accounts that we run. I do this for a living. It's rather good, but if anyone will ask me if they could the rank for a living, I will tell them, are you okay doing a job that is pretty much the same thing over and over and over again?
Well, a lot of jobs are like that. To be fair, a lot of jobs are doing the same thing over and over again. And the unique thing is, it's like, bro, I remember when I was playing RuneScape, you could pay people from Venezuela because their economy was in such a mess. You could pay them to do tasks manually. So instead of buying a bot, you would pay someone in Venezuela to like do wood cutting for you. Or like, you could describe any task. Like, these guys were good. Like, it's just that the economy is so screwed there that you make more money, just renting off your services to people in richer countries. But let's have a look.
Because this job is farm the camp and surrender. Do it over and over and over again for 30 or 40 games. The job can get very boring. The amount of hours I play a day are around 12 to 13. I really enjoy working, so I work every day of the week. When you duo, there is one less report you're getting every game. Even if you get reported every game, it really doesn't matter. You're playing around 20 to 30 games to reach Iron 4.
But Riot told me that the amount of reports you get doesn't matter.
To get your account banned. This strat I am doing is as chill as it can be. What we are doing right now is just getting into the game and farm the jungle. Nothing else. You pretty much don't want to feed, because if you feed too much or the account gets a 14-day ban, it's pretty much a waste of time. What I am doing right now, after testing
this guy's in the
a
Matrix,
lot of things,
man. He's dodging bullets.
Going support. So it's just better to duo because it's faster and it's easier. It can be a little complicated to manage when you start. The easiest way is to use the mouse on the second computer. I change the keybind on Jana, on her shield, to the middle mouse. So everything I have to do is press middle mouse, she shields, and then I move her to Sambash. This strat avoids being killed as much as possible. Every single time a camp comes up, I go there, farm it, and repeat the entire game. It's very repetitive, but that's good, because with muscle memory, over time, you can automate it pretty easily. While we are doing this, I am playing on 4 other computers. This is North America server. We also play on EU West and EU Northeast. I can pretty much control 6 computers at the same time. At the start, it was confusing to be watching 2 computers at once. Yeah, it was hard to focus, but with at least a month.
Right, these are only Warwick screens, and that's a spectate. Come on, man.
My AD carry will lose the tower around minute 10, and he will want to surrender the game because he pretty much cannot play.
So your team's not actually surrendering. Does that happen often?
This happens all the time. They think they can win because they are a little bit 8 to 10, they have a tower. They think they can win. They may.
Respect.
I will not be surprised if they win. This is iron and bronze. There is times where enemy team will be fucking stupid and they will lose 3v5. It happens every 10 to 15 games.
Every
There is
10 to
games
15
that go
games.
on for 40 minutes because the enemy team can't win a 3v5 for whatever reason. Every game is some kind of coin flip if you're gonna get a smurf, or if the enemy team is the ranking too.
How many games actually have a person like
Oh.
yourself who's deboosting?
Human derankers every 10 game, in bots every 5.
Wow, that's a lot of enters.
Yeah, they are very common. But when there is games that are long, like this one, I go to the sideline and farm some XP on Jana. By the end of that game, she should be level 6. But most of the rankers don't do this. They die 9 times each one, and that's very hard to compete against, especially if I don't want the account banned. The only times where I feel a little is when I am about to demote. It would be bad to have died like 5 times and have 0 kills and 0 assists. That would be very bad. That's what I try to avoid. It doesn't look bad. It even looks like you're trying. I avoid winning as much as possible, and when I am winning, I just leave the game. I'd rather take the liver booster than win the game.
So how much money does an ELO debooster actually make? On average, LeBond works about 13 hours a day, and he earns roughly 60 euros or $65 in that single day.
Oh shit.
If you average that out, it's roughly about $5 an hour, not even minimum wage in the United
Okay.
States. So why would anyone want to do a job like this for their full-time career?
Bro, 60 euros is a shit ton of money in some
Winston
places.
should be in school. Instead, he and his older brother Jose are helping their father with what is now daily work.
Venezuela already has the world's highest inflation, and it looks like
There we
the
go.
economic crisis there
He was
is
just
about
preparing
to get
it.
even worse. The International Monetary Fund projects the country's inflation rate will rise to an incomprehensible 1,000,000% by the end of the year.
The country has the highest inflation rate in the world, making food and medicine inaccessible to most Venezuelans.
There's plenty of great videos out there about why Venezuela fell apart, but I'm just gonna sum it up real quick here. Basically, Venezuela had an oil-dependent economy, and their economy was going to continue working so long as oil prices kept going up. Eventually, they stopped going up and they crashed. So Venezuela's entire economy crashed because the government tried to print its way out of the crisis, which of course didn't work. So now they're suffering from something that the economists call worse than the Great Depression. To give you an idea of just how bad the situation is in Venezuela right now, 75% of all Venezuelans have lost roughly 8 kilograms or 20 pounds of weight over these last few years. The average salary in Venezuela is $30 a month. So if you're making $65 a day as an ELO debooster, well, that sounds like a pretty damn good deal.
You get around $100 per month, and for me that's barely enough. That will buy you food and pay for some services, but it's definitely nothing that you can go and buy a hamburger or a pizza or something without having to worry about what you're gonna eat the next week. I gotta say, I don't enjoy doing this, but I think it's the best option I have available at the moment. I am gonna take this opportunity because if I don't, someone else will. There is no excuse to what I am doing. What I am doing to the game is bad. If I was on any other country where I had any decent chance to get a good work, I will take it. But this is what I have, and this is what I can work with. So I am gonna take it.
One of the most interesting things about this story is how his setup actually works. I was thinking the whole time, if he lives in Venezuela and he's barely able to afford food, how the hell is he able to afford 6 PCs to play League of Legends on? Riot Games is a billion-dollar company, and they've spent a considerable amount of their resources focused on one specific goal for League.
Accessibility.
Making sure that anyone, and I mean anyone, can play League of Legends. Even someone living in the worst economy in the world.
Okay, I got a limited budget, so I can buy $10 graphic card. When you think about this graphic card I got for $10, it runs League on the lowest resolution, everything turned down at 15 FPS. That would be enough to at least boot the game. The processor it has on it can't run League without a graphics card. They have cost me around $50 each. Motherboard, RAM, and processor. With low-end GPUs, they are somewhat cheap. Each cost $20. It's playable. It's not something I will use to play on as main computer, but it's playable enough to the rank. I think the entire cost is around $80 for each computer.
Holy shit.
I have to use $50 to repair my air conditioner. I gotta say, the air conditioner is important, very important, because 6 computers. It gets hot in here.
Okay, so what is Riot Games actually doing about elo deboosting? If 1 in 5 games has one of these types of players, why haven't they done anything yet? The fact is that they actually have. The elo deboosting meta changes month to month because Riot has been consistently doing different things to curtail whatever is the newest and easiest way to drop down to Iron 4. In the past, you could continuously dodge until you hit Iron 4, taking that negative 10 LP every single time. Riot got rid of that with dodge penalties. After dodging became obsolete, they moved on to remaking. Riot got rid of that with Lever Buster. When Yuumi was released, tons of Iron elo deboosters were abusing her in order to get to Iron. You would just hit up Yuumi, put her on a bot, and slowly watch the account drop LP. So you know what Riot did about that? Riot just simply banned almost every single Yuumi player in Iron 4 because 99% of those players were legitimately botted and none of them were actually real. In fact, today, if you go into Iron, 99% of Yuumi players are bots. It's just so hilariously ironic to me that the worst players in the game cannot play the most brain-dead champion in the game because so many of them are bots playing and pretending to be them. So you know Riot's gonna watch this video, right? I have a question. Well, this is my last question. Why are you showing me all this? Like, aren't you scared that they're gonna see this and then figure out your strategy and then you have to make a new one? Like, what are you doing?
Honestly, I feel like there is a lot of people that actually play like this, just farming and occasional gank here and there. I think they will ban way too much people wrongly. I buy items, I ward. It's as human as you can get, and I think they will have a hard time noticing when someone is actually the ranking or something. If Riot figures this out, you just have to adjust a little bit the way you do it. Then Riot will have to scratch their head again to find some system that will ban you for doing this. There is some kind of fun to design new strats that will be more effective than what you had before. The problem Riot has is there is people that really do play like this, and you can't have a system banning people for nothing, you know, for playing the way they play. To the people watching this, the ranking can sound lame as fuck, but it is just as dumb as boosting. You may argue that boosting needs a skill, because it does, but doing this, the way I am doing it with 6 computers and I want to expand to 10, it's also some sort of skill. There is always a little bit of room for improvement on this. And once they catch up,
I guess he's right.
I will change it.
Think about this from Riot's perspective. They're paying a team of software engineers hundreds of thousands of dollars in California to police a guy making $5 in Venezuela. They need to write algorithms and programs just to be able to detect this guy. The problem is that algorithms and code run on logic and sense. Iron players don't have any logic, and their plays make absolutely no sense at all. They're trying to create programs that have to detect people mimicking actual people. The only thing that Riot could ever do to stop the Iron 4 market forever is to make solo queue so fun to play that nobody wants to play in Iron anymore. But if Riot could do that, if they could solve solo queue, well, they could solve cancer itself. My name's DongHuaP. Thanks for watching.
Wait. I think the main question is why on earth does Iron even exist? Like, what's the point of adding Iron? What is the actual reason for adding iron to the game. There has to be a lowest tier, but there was no issue with bronze being the lowest tier. I don't remember the reasoning as to why they added iron to the game. It's very strange. It's like, why is there iron rank in the league? To make bronzes like me feel better about themselves. Right. Now the placements are complete, let's talk about the climb. We've heard for years that a lot of you feel like you're getting better but still not seeing your rank go up. So we took a closer look at tiers and divisions and saw that some work better than others. Take a player in bronze right now. They might get a little bit better but not climb divisions. Up in diamond and beyond, your gains can feel totally different at the top and the bottom of the tier. There's just too big of a skill gap in these places. On the other hand, in gold, even a slight change in your skill can bounce you up or down a couple of divisions really rapidly. It's kind of like a ladder where some of the rungs are much farther apart than the others, and that's a pretty hard ladder to climb. We want to find a happy medium where your improvements are accurately reflected. But this is an MMR issue, not a tier issue. This is just not a tier issue. This is a strictly MMR issue. We landed on adding 2 new tiers. The first tier, iron, is going below bronze to help give those players an opportunity to get better recognition as they get better at the game. The second tier is Grandmaster, which is going between Master and Challenger and giving us a chance to perform a long overdue recalibration at the top of the ladder and better differentiate those players based on the skill. If you're already doing the climb in your head, you might be worried that we're just adding an extra grind with the new tiers. That's why we're dropping to 4 divisions instead of 5. So yes, that means next season there won't be a single bronze 5 player in all of League of Legends. So it's just an illusion. Great. So it's all just an illusion. Just like the rank system without actual visible rating. You know, like in chess or... So it's just an illusion. Just an illusion to make people feel better. Yeah, great. At least I would try to come from a position where I don't assume that my audience is stupid. I will say no promos from 4 to 3 was a great addition. Well, why are promos there in the first place? It's like promos are such a shit part of the game because it further masks your matchmaking rating. It's so bad. Rank is delusion. Some gold players got better mechanics than Challenger, but their macro is trash. No, that's another form of delusion. What's the difference between Master and Challenger? Well, imagine it's like there's a lot of attributes that a pro player, not a pro player, but any player is defined by. Like I could be the best mechanical player and play like an absolute monkey and like play very stupid, and I could reach rank 1. Like if, let's say like Riven got buffed and I'm just playing Riven and I'm completely smurfing on Riven and winning every lane and getting really super far ahead, I could play stupid and I can get far. It's just that, like the collective of all of these attributes. Like mechanical skill, just mental strength, like how well you regulate your own energy, macro ability, and general game knowledge. It's like all of these things add up. It's like you can go super far by being really smart at the game because you can make choices in your champion selection to cover some of your weaknesses. Sometimes there are players that climb very far. Like that's why there's occasionally players that manage to climb up high to the ladder only for 1 season. Just because the most effective strategy at the time really helps, like really is in line with what their attributes are. But then there's the most consistent players that are mechanically good, macro-wise good, and so forth, and they are not meta-dependent. That's why it's like, oh, Riven, Death Dance got buffed, and there was a big item rework and so forth, and then all of a sudden a bunch of Riven players found themselves on the top of the ladder. There was a period where like Nunu players and Janna players were at the top of the ladder just because of the nature of the game at the time. And these players were not mechanically talented, they just had the patience and good mental strength and, you know, the dedication to just spam the same boring shit over and over again. So all in all, it's like it's a collection of attributes. When someone says what is the difference between a master player and a challenger player, is the differences could be many, but sometimes they could be as simple as just one thing as well. It depends on the player. To say that all master players are lacking something that all challengers players have would kind of remove the nuance of the situation. Because there are players in challenger that might be maybe have the mechanics of a master player, but they have the macro knowledge of a challenger player. And this is the key thing, right? It's like maybe there's a player in master that has challenger level macro, but maybe his macro is like the bottom of a shoe and he's like a silver player. Then maybe he belongs in master. It's like a collection of all of these attributes, you know, and certain metas and certain opportunities appear in the meta that allow you to sometimes hide your weakness and sometimes also elevate your strength. So the question, what is the difference between master and challenger? You know, challenger players are just better. Better at what? Depends on the specific player. But generally speaking, all of the above, right? Okay. Interesting video, DongHuaP. Do we watch the Bored Ape Nazi Club next? I'm not so sure.